I had 4 people in my graduating high school class. I was valedictorian.
So, like, when you walk somewhere in a small town, you'll, like, always see somebody that you recognize or that recognizes you, and then they'll stop you, and then you'll have, like, this super long conversation that you were not prepared for when you left the house.
It was like when I would go to church and, like, with my family when I was growing up. And we'd stay there for like an hour and a half after the service ended because my parents would talk to the pastor and just conversate. So the main one is that you know about secrets.
Like, everybody knows.
Everyone knows what you're saying.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's just, it gets passed around. Except me, I'm kind of a loner. And
yeah, except for some, like, weird people who don't keep up with it. Not you. You're not weird.
I think I'm a weird person that doesn't keep up with it.
So, like, in a school or, like, someplace or, like, a church, if we're talking about that, there's always one person who is way above everybody else in terms of attractiveness.
Always one.
Always one. And so that's the one that everybody fawns over. And so her over here has a story.
My story takes place, I think I was probably a junior in high school, and I go to a private Christian school. I had 4 people in my graduating high school class. 4 people.
4 people.
I was valedictorian. I was. Our band was very, very small. So my band director knew some kids in the area that played instruments well. So he called someone in, and we did the creepiest thing. So when he, like, walked into the band room to be a part of our band rehearsal, like, all the girls were like, "Who is that?" Like, it was like a stage whisper of, like, "Who is that?" And I'm pretty sure he heard, but, you know, we were just unaware. We were thirsty, some might say. I went to the band director, and I was like, "So, like, what was his name?" I'm just wondering what that person's name was, that enchanted being. And my band director was like, "Okay, here's his name, his email, his address, and his phone number." So what I did, I wrote all of the information on a sticky note, and I passed it to one of the girls, and I was like, "Okay, so here's who he is." And then I didn't even know that she did this, but she went over to the copier room and made copies for everyone in the school. So we handed it out at, like, the end of the school day, like, flyers of, like, "Please go stalk this boy."
This happened, like, really fast.
Yeah. Because our school was so small, there weren't a lot of boys. And, you know, like, even if you really liked a boy and had a crush on him, you could still break up with him, and then there was just no one left to date that you were really attracted to because, you know, like, human beings aren't attracted to everyone. So beside our school building, there was a police academy, and because our building was so small, we actually occupied a floor of a building that we rented. The girls had a locker room. It wasn't like, you know, the classic locker room where you're changing and stuff. It was more so along the lines of we had like a bunch of like lockers, like we would put our stuff in it, like adult equivalents to cubby holes. And there was like firemen over beside us, and in the window we would sometimes just like look in the window because they had like some really, oh no, they were policemen. They had some really attractive policemen over there. Their window, like, here's our window to the locker room, and here's their window. And sometimes we would be up here, and we would, like, look down, and sometimes their window was open. So we'd open our window, and there was this girl that was like, "Meow, meow." And then she would do that periodically, just pretend to be a cat, and they'd, like, be frustrated for the longest time because they didn't know where the cats were. One day she did it, and and there were, like, some people in the building, the police office building down here in the window. but there was a police officer that was like training or something like on the roof, and he saw her meowing. He saw her meowing. Yeah, so that was kind of funny. And I think by the end of the year, they just like never went in the room where we could see where they were through the window.
Why?
Because like in between classes, there would just be a bunch of teenage girls crowding around the window looking like, what are the police officers doing? Like, would you want to be a part of that? Do you want like me to like
No.
to you through a window? So, in small towns, you're also bored a lot, and they close movie theaters and bowling alleys, and then they wonder why people turn to drugs. It's because children are bored.
Yeah.
I don't turn to drugs because that's nasty, but, like...
What do? Sit home and watch Netflix all day?
I mean, that is a really good option.
It's what
I do
everybody does. They want people to be physically active, but we have
don't
nothing
do
to
drugs.
Don't do drugs.
Please don't.
It's not good. And there's like all of these little adorable stores everywhere. And then there's like this candy store in where we live right now. And it's like not great, but there's candy for $1. So
And it's without tax, can you believe that?
yeah, but it's like really uninviting. There's like this scary yellow light that flashes all the time. And like the front of the store, it like doesn't, there's just like this sign that says the name, and it's like not good.
That's so sad.
It's sad, but they're trying.
But, like, another interesting thing is, she was in a Letters to August video and in, like another video, but my other niece, Maya, she was here and she brought here, like, some candy from that candy store, and I'll, like, flash up a picture on the screen of this, but there was some soda bottle candies.
Yeah, they're like fizzy soda bottles.
Do you like them?
I like them. Only I don't get them a lot because they're not my favorite.
I think they're nasty.
They taste just like soda, though. They taste exactly the same.
What soda are you drinking?
The right kind.
Yeah, it's gross.
I like it. It's
like,
Maya's favorite.
She's lovely, but like
insane.
Girl. Alright, so there's also an abundance of churches, which I don't have a problem with.
There's like 5 or 6 churches
in
this
town.
small town.
5 or 6 churches, and they're all full of older residents. Not disrespecting, not hating, but I need to find myself a man.
You can't find that with all these old people.
And there's always only one love interest in the
church. Sometimes there isn't even.
And he's always taken. Like, he's always taken, and then he always, like, he has a girlfriend, and he just so happens to have his grades together and believe in God, and, like, just being on top of things human. And
somebody got to it before you did.
Yeah, it's sad. And then they end up being the perfect youth group couple, and you're like...
Could have been me.
It totally could have been me. Yeah, but they become the youth group couple, and they're like perfect. Do you all have that in your youth group? The people who went to the youth group watching this, that one couple that the church places on a pedestal, and they're like, they're just a perfect couple. Everyone should be like them.
When there's a mall, they always suck because there's only one floor, and like half of the stores are closed because there's not enough business. And nobody wants to go into those store spaces because there's not enough business. And so there's like
you said that
stores.
Same, like your variation of the sentences. Like you're variating you're saying it over and over again.
But how can you compete against a company with the resources of a nationwide chain? David will always beat Goliath.
But there's like nothing.
That brings me on to our second point, which is
Actually, it's not the second point. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7th point.
Okay. So libraries, they're happening places, except in small towns, because if you want to get something that just came out, you have to request it. You have to call in and you have to request it for them to like go to a different library that is better and then deliver it to your library. And sometimes if you put like books on hold like that, it can take weeks for them to arrive.
It's just better just to buy the books.
Yeah.
At that
And then
point.
waste a bunch of money.
Yeah. But when you waste a bunch of money, at least you have the book and it's satisfying to put on your bookshelf.
Do you have book smells?
Do I like book smells?
Yeah.
I like book smells.
A really awesome library that I went to a couple years ago was the Chicago Library. Delicious. Before we went to the Chicago Library, we went and got some Chicago deep dish pizza. Delicious. And it was beautiful. Like it was like a pie of pizza. Like a true pizza pie. Delicious. Okay. Why are you like this?
I didn't mean to be like this.
Okay.